Hello, here we are again with Eddie Ritter. We are at the Stockholm Supermarket Art Fair. I am Eleni Exarchou and I'm curating this show. And I'm here to talk with Eddie. So Eddie, can you really tell me how did you learn about the Art Institute and how did you end up going there?
How did I learn about it? I think I learned about California and San Francisco more than the San Francisco Art Institute. But I did know a guy who went there. And I wanted to go to art school. And the East Coast was out of the question. I'm from the East Coast. And the East Coast is industrial, it's dirty. It's not all dirty, but it's a tired mentality. So I wanted to go someplace new and fresh. That was San Francisco. I got there around November, December, and I had a shirt on in the middle of winter. And I said, yeah, I like this. I like this. This works. It's a great climate.
It is.
They say the coldest month, I think, is September.
Yes, we all know.
So, oh, you were there. That's right.
For many years.
I forget.
That's why we're here, Eddie.
How quickly they forget.
How quickly. That's how we're here.
I fell in love with San Francisco immediately. Immediately. I enjoyed just saw Chinese people everywhere. And I lived down in North Beach. It was old Italian. It wasn't as Italian as it used to be, but it was still a lot of Italian. It was an old Italian neighborhood. So I enjoyed it immediately. I thought that it was a good place to live for a while. And I stayed. I moved to two places. I had a hotel room. Then I moved to two places up on Nob Hill, on Leavenworth, and then on Clay. But I eventually ended up back on Powell Street down by Francisco. And I was there for pretty much the whole time I stayed in San Francisco.
So what did you study at the Art Institute?
Photography.
Oh, you went photography. Did you have some favorite teachers? Or whom do you remember that influenced you, maybe?
Well, Jack Fulton was...
Jack, yes.
He did color photography.
Yes.
And he was a
When
colorful
were you
guy.
there? What year?
From... I think the January, December 76 to
Earlier.
2.5 more years. Because I had done some college before, so I didn't have
Okay.
to fill in any requirements. All I could do was just concentrate on my work.
Wonderful. So,
And I liked Hank Wessel.
Hank. Yes.
He, I had an epiphany about him years after I had him as a teacher. That there's something kind of mystical about his images. It's just they're kind of little puzzles. They don't explain themselves. It's just all, and they're kind of wrapped in mystery. And I realized later that something he said, I read that he said, it's part of his a blurb someplace, that he loved the light, and I think he started in Southern California, and he liked the light.
Yes.
So I think basically he took photographs the way he took photographs, but he was basically just photographing light. He was primarily interested in the light, and that's it.
I think
Nothing more.
Yeah.
He just was in love with the light, and that's all it takes.
It's true.
If you
Can you tell me a little bit about your work? How did you start working, and what kind of work did you do back then when you were at the Art Institute, and a little bit after, and maybe then we can see how we end up having this work of yours here. How did you start working in photography?
I was at the University of Maryland, and there was a photography courses in the architecture school, and that teacher had come from MIT. He was a student of Minor White, who was a rather mystical kind of photographer. So he had very good printing technique, and he kind of continued the message of his teacher, which was Minor White did a book called Mirrors, Messages, and Manifestations. So that's where he came from. So I was working in that vein until I got to California, and then I fell in love with the light. I was going, damn, Jesus.
What kind of camera did you use back then? I'm really curious to know.
My first camera was a Honeywell Pentax Spotmatic. It fell off the back of my car, the prism cracked, and I took it to Mexico. I was arrested in Mexico, and it got stolen while I was in jail. But then when I came back and decided to go to school, I got a Rolleiflex. And I used the Rolleiflex rather exclusively. I tried a Leica, but I just couldn't get used to the small viewfinder. I needed more time to compose. I was putting a whole lot of my photographs for years on a tripod, so I could get long exposure times or sharp images, whatever. You have more latitude if it's on a tripod.
And
so I was taking pictures of houses over in Oakland, Berkeley, Albany. Just walking around for a couple of years with my tripod and my camera, and photographing houses in color, with the clouds in the background. Always had the sky was had to have that sky in it. West Coast sky is
amazing.
yeah. It moves very quickly, the weather there. So the clouds move very quickly. So it's almost like doing street photography. You're either there or you're not. If you want the cloud to be part of your composition, you got.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to wait.
Fast.
If the cloud's moving over, you go, yeah, that's. So you set up and you just wait there for a couple minutes until it comes over, and you go, okay, I'm going to start photographing now. So then I left school, and I didn't photograph for the longest time. I worked in restaurants and such.
So it was survival in a way?
Oh yeah, complete. I was drinking, I was drugging, I was whoring around. I was just out of control. I was out of control.
Okay.
For the longest time. When I came to Sweden.
So you just decided to come to Sweden?
No, I met this woman.
Oh, okay.
I met this woman. She was a friend of my girlfriend at the Art Institute, who was Swedish.
So it's Eros of Cosmos, like love brought you here.
So I met her in California. A couple years later, I was down in Florida taking care of my mother. She died. She had ALS. So Ulrika came over, and we took the car and went up all the way to Boston to visit friends, visit my relatives on the way. Then we travel to San Francisco across the United States. And when we got there, she was pregnant. So we decided, oh, what the hell, just keep on going. So I decided to move to Sweden. So that was probably in September, maybe. And in November, I was in -5 Sweden. It was colder. It was chilly.
Freezing, Eddie.
I hadn't been that cold in perhaps 40 years, 35 years. So yeah, this is cold. But I had a nice jacket. I had Timberland boots.
Yeah.
I survived. And the homes are warm.
Yes, that's of course. So you've been here for how many years?
30 years.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Wonderful.
When she was pregnant, I decided to document it. Didn't have any money, didn't have a dark room or anything. So what I was doing is just photographing her pregnancy, mostly nudes. And I would put 3 together as a triptych. And I printed them on cyanotype paper, blueprint paper. So I didn't have to, it was very inexpensive.
Yeah.
So I did a book of her stuff.
Wonderful.
And when we moved to when digital came out, I thought it was very free, just economically. She got an old camera from work that it was old then. It was a Sony Magica, the first digital camera that used a floppy disk as a storage. It was, but I liked it. I did it.
I love it.
And they're small images. I don't know how many megabytes the images were, but I eventually got a camera. I've had a couple cameras. Now my phone has a camera that's better than my Canon used to be 10 years ago. So I photograph with my telephone now.
So are you doing it? We have, I don't know if we call it landscapes here, right? In a way, or we have all the fruits. And I've read that you said that you're photographing on the way to someplace.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell me a little bit about this?
All those 6 different images I took while walking my dog.
Okay.
I never go out to photograph.
Okay.
If I like the way the sky looks, the weather looks, and I know I'm going to be interested in photographing, then I'll go out at a special time. But I never take, or if I'm driving my car, drive past something, I'll stop my car. I used to go, oh, that's nice. I'll come back tomorrow and photograph that on my day off.
Oh, so you do that?
But
you see something.
the next day, the light has changed completely.
Yeah.
There's no photograph there. The
It's a
photograph
different thing.
only existed when you passed. And when you snooze, you lose. So now, if I see something, I stop my car, I stop my life, and I just photograph. Yeah,
It's right there.
it's very satisfying
Yeah.
that everything stops. Business stops, dinner stops, money stops, everything stops, and this is for me. I'm gonna stop it all.
So you found again something in photography that really triggers you and interests you.
Yeah, at school, especially at the Art Institute, they weren't in the photography department. They weren't very big on technique. They would teach it to you if you needed it and wanted
Yes.
it. They were available,
Yes.
but there was no technique classes. you learn that on the way.
I know.
To
You had to learn by yourself.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
You had to find your own way, kind of. There.
but the whole art school point of view is self-expression, and now I'm not at all interested in self-expression. Not at all.
So you
In
would
fact, I
like
think-
to have more technique?
No, I'd like to. It's like this famous documentary photographer, Walker Evans, said the photographer, in your photographs, the photographer should be seen everywhere. No, should be felt everywhere and seen nowhere. Like there's nobody took that picture. That's just,
There.
yeah, the photographer isn't very important in that scene. It's not me and the thing, it's just the thing. That's where I'm going. Especially after being involved in yoga for like 15 years now, and now for the last couple of years, meditation, that my feelings, the things that I'm smelling, seeing, hearing, the things I'm feeling, the thoughts that come into my head, these all just appear in consciousness, and they are gone as quickly as they come. Now, the vast majority of people think that they are the sum total in the history of their thoughts, what they've been thinking their whole life. When in reality, they've just been lost in thought, in the world of thought. Well, thoughts are little flags for you to pay attention to something, but that's all they are.
Yes.
They're not who you are, they appear. You do not control your thinking. And anybody can prove it to you very quickly. The thoughts just appear and then they disappear. So, that having been said, I'd say that these days I'm just standing in front of objects and trying to get out of the way of the photograph. It's not easy.
No.
And since my education was that of an art school and personal expression, if you see art in my photographs, well, that's just the trappings of my education. That's just the trappings of my education. It's just the way I got to do it, because that's what I know how to do. Or that's how I know how to do it.
Yeah.
But that's not my intention.
Do you mean that you would like not to have that education?
No, I don't see any other place to do it.
Yeah. Okay.
It's like I was raised Orthodox Catholic, and now I'm an atheist. I think the concept of God is like the horse and buggy. It was great for 10,000 years, but we don't use them anymore. And if you choose to use one, you can get where you're going with a horse and buggy, but there are better ways to get there. That's how I feel about my upbringing in Catholicism. I don't have much use for the finger pointing and the punishments and the shame, the guilt. It's heavy. But at the same time,
Religion has that.
At the same time, I
shame.
learned so many cool things. I don't see any other place you can learn them.
Yes.
Like Christ's parables, for example. I told my wife the parable of Christ in the vineyard. Oh, no, not Christ. He told the vineyard owner and the vineyard workers the parable. You know that parable?
Yes.
Yeah. And
I'm a
I
Christian
told her
Orthodox.
the parable, and basically, when the last guy showed up, he goes, "Well, everybody got paid the same. I was here at 7 o'clock in the morning, and they just came after lunch." He goes, What did I say to you when you got here at 7 in the morning? He goes, well, you paid me such and such an amount. And he goes, how much did I give you? He goes, you gave me that amount. I said, well, what's the problem? See, you can't compare the contract between my contract with you or my contract with somebody else. It's just not fair.
Never.
So
right.
But I told that parable to my wife, and she goes, that's not fair. That's Swedish social democracy for you. You know, the desire for equality.
Yeah.
So I don't really know where else you can learn those things.
Yes.
Now, I have since found much cleaner, better places to learn them. In yoga and Buddhism are much have a much lighter touch. And the same is true with art school. Where else can you learn that stuff? Nobody else is talking about that stuff. Especially where I come from in the United States, it's a country that is really quite concerned about money, position, power, and toys. Get your toys, man. You gotta get the toys. And if you're not interested in those things, you are not on the same page.
Yes.
No, you're not on the same page as everybody. And I've only spent like perhaps two or 3 years in what is called suburbia, living among the middle class. The rest of the time I was in a small fishing village on the Jersey coast, 2,000 people. Or on the side, way out in the country, the side of a military reservation, or at a college campus in Pennsylvania with the Amish driving their horses and buggies past my house. So I've never lived in middle America, and when I did, I went out of my mind. It was maddening.
Yeah.
It was maddening. I couldn't take it.
Right.
That's one of the reasons why I had to leave, because when I came back from Mexico, I was there for like 3 years. When I came back, I was delivering mail in New Jersey.
Oh.
And, I just like, I'd wake up from nightmares. I dream a whole lot, but I seldom have nightmares.
Yeah.
And I was waking up with nightmares.
Oh my gosh.
So I was going into California, but I was more than that. I was leaving New Jersey, leaving the East Coast. I had to get away from it. It take years figuring out what it is that you're leaving, why you left, what have you found in your new place. Is that paying off? Is there a payoff there? So an art is a real good solid way of being introduced to the fact that there are other people on the planet who are interested in the arts, whose money and success and power isn't
the first thing.
That isn't primary. And it's one of the few places, unless you go to a seminary or else you go to a college and learn poetry or literature or looking around. I don't know where else you can. There's very few places where that's available. You have to.
True. What a journey.
Oh, yeah.
What a journey.
Oh, yeah.
We could talk here for hours because I want to ask you so many things about all the things that you've said. But I want you to tell me, you told me of how you photograph now. I really want to have this last answer. Were you back then when you were at the Art Institute ever imagined of the work and the way you think now?
Yeah,
Yeah?
I had started back then.
Oh.
That was the punk era. People were raging against the machine. I had just gotten out of jail. I wasn't raging against anything. I was looking seriously at the middle class and what they were doing with their homes and how they took such pride in them. And it's like I wanted to get out of the way of those photographs. And for the most part, I had started to do that. Got out of the way of the image.
Okay.
And that, but I think I still have the same point of view I had back then, but I didn't realize what the point of view was so much. I knew I liked certain documentary photographers who, like Eugene Atche, the French guy, who I don't think anybody's ever come close to. I think he's just way above everybody else. And those photographs, if you learn that they're all made by Eugene Atche, he goes, "Oh, who the hell was he?" Because you don't see him in the photographs. You have no clue what the human being was like that made the images.
I saw that your printouts are small. Are you interested in seeing all these images that you're doing? And I like very much the fruits and everything, and the other images that you brought. Would you like to see them really big?
You're the third person to say that.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
You're not suggesting it, but that's behind me.
Suggesting it. I'm asking you.
I was gonna do that.
I would like to see. I would like to know how you would like. Is this the only choice to have them small, or would you like to see in more detail? That's what I'm saying, because I love what I see, but I really want to see that. That smashing detail in the fruit.
Yeah.
I felt that.
You're
and
the
I have
third
to
person
ask.
to say that. What I was doing, photograph for Instagram, and Instagram isn't the same format as my camera format.
Okay.
Come on in. So, first thing I do when I edit my photo is I change the format
Okay.
to 4/5 format. So it's cut. So that format did not fit. I had glass that was 40 by 50 because of another show I had.
Okay.
And I just cut that 30 by 40. But it was a mistake. I should have done 40 by 50s, maybe had 3 photographs. In fact, I've been working as a carpenter for the last 25 years. So basically, I'm presently more interested.
Us so much.
I'm more interested in woodworking. I've been making rocking horses recently. Been making rocking horses, and I've been making a couple guitars out of chairs. This
Wonderful.
So I'm.
Maybe you should have brought.
I should have done that.
You should have brought a rocking horse and a guitar out of chair.
And I also renovate sleds. I buy old sleds, like some of them are 100 years old, and some of them I leave alone because they're just nice as they are. But I renovate them too. I could have had 3 sleds with a rocking horse on top and 2 guitars on the side.
Would have smashed for me.
In hindsight, after this 4 days, I think that's what I should have done.
Yes. But that's okay.
Hey,
We love to have you
live and you
here,
learn.
Eddie. That was great having you. And what a journey. As I said, I really want to keep going on asking you, because look what came up, the rocking horses and the chairs and all that, towards the end of the interview. what can I say? We need another hour here. We have to go packing.
Let's go back.
Eddie Ritter, thank you so much. Thank you for being at the show.
So what?
Thank you so much for all your help to put up the show. And here we are at the Stockholm Supermarket Art Fair with Eddie Ritter. I'm Eleni Exarchou.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.